Are you considering going abroad for your studies or your career, or you're just thinking of moving abroad? Or maybe you already have arrived in a foreign country and you're trying to navigate your way. If your answer is yes to any of those questions, then today's video is for you, because in today's video I'm going to talk about some of the challenges or the things you should know already to manage expectations in a foreign country. Stay tuned, because today's video is all about that. Hello everybody, this is Samreen. I'm an academic by profession in the UK, and in today's video I'm going to talk about all the things which you should know as an international student, or even if you're considering going abroad to pursue your further studies. Today's video is very special to me because I have started my journey as well in the UK as an international student, and then I've worked my way up and now I'm working as a full-time academic. So I absolutely can empathize about all the various things which you may have in your mind, even if you have arrived in a foreign country. So I'm calling these few videos as Away from Home series, because I don't want to cram every single thing in one video, as there are so many things which one should know while deciding to pursue your studies abroad. So in today's video I'm going to talk about some of the personal things, perhaps the challenges or the things you should know before starting your journey, and then we'll just take it from there. So let's begin. All right, so the first thing is the language. This is something which I have seen a lot happening around me when I was a student myself, or even when I teach right now, because I see that people struggle a lot with the language, and there's a massive barrier in terms of language. I mean, if you're coming to a European country, for example, Germany, France, Italy, or any other, the language problem becomes even bigger, because English is something which is taught in most of the countries around the globe. So you still have some familiarity with it, but those languages could be a lot more challenging. But one thing which I would really like you to consider is to practice. Practice, and then some more practice. Because what happens is, what I've seen, that when you come from a different country, when you come to a foreign country, initially it's really hard to just mingle with people, just to go around and talk and socialize. But the more you would do it, the more you would realize that that's the only way forward. I have seen people, they would just like to socialize with their own people from their own country, and I always tell them, if you have made all the effort to leave your family, to leave your home, to leave your country, and you are in this far country, far from your home, why don't you take the most out of it? Why don't you try to get the most benefit out of it? And one way to do it is try to socialize with local people, expose yourself to those situations where you would get a chance to speak to the local people, because there's nothing like practicing your language while talking to other people around you. And the other thing I want to say about language is, never feel embarrassed if you are making some mistakes, because that's how you would learn. Many times what happens is that when people find themselves that they don't really have the ability to speak a proper language, they would rather be quiet. And that's a really big mistake people do, because what happens generally, when you keep quiet, you don't really learn, because you don't practice your language. And I always also say one more thing. We are speaking this language which is not a native language, so we should be really appreciative of the fact that we are still trying, we are still making that effort. Even though if you are making a mistake, it's okay. Keep on working at it, because the more you'll work on it, the more you'll practice, you'll learn the language. And as I said earlier, try to expose yourself to the local situations and to local people. Now, if I talk about UK, there are different kind of dialects in the UK. So for example, if you go to north, you'll find a different kind of dialects of English. If you come down to south, you would find different kind of dialects. And so it could be hard to understand that. It could be hard to navigate yourself through those different dialects. But again, once you listen to that more, you would get used to, and you'll be able to understand that more. So in the nutshell, language is something which you have to practice, because if you won't practice, you won't learn it. Well, the second biggest thing is the weather. Well, if you come from a tropical country where the weather is normally warm, you get more sunlight, it's very hard to get used to of countries like UK, because most of the time it rains. The days get really shorter in winter, and so by the time you start your semester in September, the days are already getting shorter. And when you come from a tropical country where you see a lot of sunlight, you just start to feel more stressed, or kind of, because you don't see that kind of sunlight around you. And there's another famous thing they say about the UK, that if you want to strike a conversation with somebody, weather is the favorite topic, and you can always have a small talk about weather. So one thing to consider that, and you should know that weather could play a massive role in our moods as well, in our mood swings. So we need to know that beforehand to manage our expectations. Other thing which I have learned is always keep an umbrella with you. Because I have been in situations where I've gone to my university in the morning, it's nice and bright, I've gone out, and by the time I finish my class and I come back, it's pouring. Not even raining, it's pouring. And then I say to myself, well, how come? Because it wasn't supposed to rain, and it was really bright sunny. So you always need to make sure that you carry an umbrella with you, because you don't want to be in a situation where you are out and it's raining and then you have nowhere to go. Next on my list is food. Yes, that's a big one, because food is such a massive part of our upbringing. It just gives us that homely vibe, that warmth of our home as well. And when you come to a foreign country, that's the biggest shock as well, because every country has a different taste and every country has a different cuisine. So while you're coming abroad, one thing again to consider is you should know that no matter which great restaurant you visit, no matter how loudly they say that the food is going to be authentic, it's almost impossible to find your home cooked food. Unless you cook yourself, that's great, because that should be the way. But if you don't cook yourself, like me unfortunately, then you need to be prepared that you won't be able to find food of your home. So you just need to, navigate your way around it. And because that can really play a massive role as well, and that can really make you feel homesick very soon. The next one is time difference, because when you come to a different country, you are in different time zone, and sometimes it gets really hard to reach out to your friends and family back home. So what you should do, you should always make them aware about time differences and also about your schedule. For example, if you have a class at a certain time, if you have a study session, if you are going out with your friends or whatever is that, so that you can manage expectations of your friends and family, and they should also know that this is your time and this is how your day is going on. The next one is culture. Now that's a massive thing, and although the things I've discussed already, somewhere they do come within the biggest umbrella of culture, but many people talk about cultural shock. In fact, there's so much research as well on international students and how do they navigate their way through the cultural shock. But the more, what I was saying earlier in terms of language, the more you expose yourself to local situations, to local people, the more you're able to understand different nuances. So I'll give you a quick anecdote. So when I came to this country, and initially, when somebody would say, this is quite interesting, I would literally take the literal meaning of the word interesting, because I would think, okay, interesting means it's good. But later on, I realized that it doesn't have that positive connotation. So for example, if somebody says, oh, this is interesting, it's just an English way of being polite and not really saying, oh, this really sucks, or this is really bad. So they're just being polite, and they say, oh, it's interesting, because they don't want to tell you in your face that this is not really good. And you can only learn these nuances once you spend some time at the local place. And another thing which can really help you if you watch any sports, because again, football is considered to be big in this part of the world, and if you have know-how of football, or if you have a favorite team, it's a good way to start a conversation with somebody. Or for example, weather, what I said earlier. So but again, we have to consider that we are coming to a different country, and there would be things done very differently, and the way people interact with each other. We need to learn how things are done here, so that we can also navigate our way, and we can also understand the vibe of that culture, of that country. And finally, I would like to say that you have made such a big decision, or it's such a massive leap of faith that you have decided to go abroad to study further, and you should be really proud of yourself, and that's commendable, because at the end of the day, we all are humans, and we are similar in many ways and we are different in some ways, and that's the beauty of life as well. So try to, again, as I said earlier, try to expose yourself to local situations, meet local people, and you would really find yourself in a really good position, not only to navigate yourself, but also when you learn these kind of basic skills, they're going to help you in your study as well as in pursuing your future career. I hope today's video was useful for you. Thank you very much for watching this, and as always, do let me know in the comment section if you can relate to any of those things, or perhaps maybe there could be something different which I haven't discussed in this video. Until next video, take care, be kind to yourself and others around you. Bye.